Hello everyone. Till now we have seen that what all should be done before starting the articles, and if we are planning to write some article, then what all I should do and how I can manage and how what all things I should think or plan before I start writing. So as we have seen that research article writing actually starts when we derive the hypothesis or when we have already planned the things for the research and all. Now today we are going to see that what should not be done and what should be done to write the scientific paper or science paper. 4 steps to preparing your first draft which you should follow. First is think about the topic you want to present for some days or weeks. Think about that what all you want to present. For few days spend time on that. Think about the topics, do analysis of your topic, think that either it is publishable as we have discussed earlier, and either it has some value for the society. For that you can read other articles also related to that topic, so that you will get a clear idea that what all you have to do and what all you have to plan, or you can say frame. Once you are ready with the proper ideas and rough draft in your mind that like this I am going to proceed, then go for the figures and tables, how you are designing, how many tables you need, how many figures and which all figures you want to draw or you want to get. You should have an idea of that. Then as soon you are ready with these 2 ideas, start writing quickly without thinking about anything like grammar or spelling. Just write a draft or rough draft, you can say, whatever idea you are getting in your mind. Don't think that either it is in proper way or it is grammatically correct or spelling is correct or not. Just write whatever is coming in your mind. Once you are done with this rough draft, then correct and rewrite only the whole text in one paper. Once you are ready with all the rough draft, then just correct whatever you have drafted and properly on the basis according to grammar, or you can say spellings and everything. Means it's like a polishing the things which you have already drafted. So you have to do polishing of the manuscript. Now till the roughly writing of the draft, when you are writing roughly draft, then there is nothing much to worry in that, because that is just a draft at your own level. But when we are sending this draft for the publication or some other journal, then actual things will appear, that what all things I have to do, what all things we should take care. So we will start discussing now the polishing of your manuscript. How you will polish your manuscript, how you can make your manuscript readable, or you can say in a proper way, so that it will get accepted by the reputed journals or wherever you want to publish. So first is polishing your manuscript. In that, first is that use good English. Unfortunately, for non-native English speakers, language is an important problem. If the language prevents reviewers from understanding the scientific content of your work, the possibility of acceptance will be lowered greatly. At the minimum, you should use best English you can manage in presenting your high quality science. Get a skilled writer or someone fluent. Either you can get a writer or someone is fluent in English to check your manuscript before submission. Most publishers have service called English correction with a cost around €250 or something per paper. So if you want to pay, you can pay for that, or else you can get your article reviewed. One example which you can see on the screen, that is the poorly written paragraph. You can't understand anything what actually the writer wants to say, the author wants to say, And if you are not able to understand what is the purpose of writing such type of paragraph, such type of article, if the reader is not able to understand what actually idea is, you can see the reviewers comment on that. It has clearly, it's like a clearly insult to the writer or author on their write-up, that it is not at all of that level which can be even reviewed or which can be even edited. So you can see that reviewer has refused reviewing that type of article. So write with clarity, objectivity, accuracy and brevity, presenting your scientific research in a way that is logical and understandable. To improve your language skill, you can participate reading and writing English in other parts of your work. For example, by keeping records in English during your research and reading as many as papers as you can in. Now, next is common problems which we should avoid. First, sentence that don't follow each other logically. One sentence is somewhere else regarding some disease, other sentence comes and goes to some other drugs which is not at all related to that disease. So this type of sentence paragraphs are not at all acceptable for the articles. So sentence should have some logical connections with each other. Sentences that are difficult to understand are non-initiated readers. Difficult to understand by non-initiated readers. For example, the Annex 4 of MSFD includes the definition of GES to be applied by MS. This type of sentence can't be understood by the readers. It's very difficult to understand these type of sentence. So this type of sentence should be avoided. It should be easily understandable. Then grammatical errors. Yes, it is a very big factor which may lead to the non-publication, public refusal of your publication or refusal of your write-up. The spelling mistakes and typos. Yes, that is also a very huge issue which will come out nowadays when we are typing and we have some type of called chat language and all. You try to use those language into the article. Sometimes by mistake we type like this. Such mistakes are not at all acceptable in the scientific journals or scientific publications. We should be careful that spelling mistake should not be there, and best thing is that when you are typing in the Word document and all, just go through your article and check that anywhere your Word document is marking it red. If it is red, then just recheck that word. If that word is some scientific name or something, that Word document may mark it red. But if it is some English word and that it is marking red, then just clarify that it is correct and just to make sure that it is correct. Simplify your language. One language is that numerous studies in the recent years, such as those by Miller and Smith, have shown that low salinity enhances oysters recruitment. Actually, by such a long statement, we can't understand anything. At the place of that, if we write low salinity enhance oyster recruitment, Miller 1995, Smith 1998. That is better than the previous statement. Next is avoid long sentences. Direct and short sentences are always preferred. Long sentences do not make writing more professional. They only confuse the readers. So better avoid those type of long sentences which will confuse the reader. The time reader will get confused, he will not at all get interested in your article. He will try to stop reading your article that time only. Nowadays, the average length of sentence in scientific writing is about 12 to 17 words. It is said that we read one sentence in one breath. Long sentence shock the readers. Some languages like Spanish tend to have a long and complicated sentences which can be expressed with few words in English. You have to change your style when writing in English. One idea or piece of information per sentence is sufficient. Avoid multiple statements in one sentence. Next is the problems with the longer stay sentences. Use passive voice. Example, it has been found that there had been many. Instead of that, you can say that researchers found that many. So better to say in a short way that researchers found that many. That's all. Poor sentence structure with incorrect conjugations or dangling modifiers. Example, because, so, although, but, considering, it is. For example, one example which you can see on the screen, the highest explained variability was found in the high and low mesohyaline and polyhyaline areas, that is 53 to 63%, because of high concentration of organic matter, although it can be written as that the highest explained variability was found in the high and low mesohyaline and polyhyaline areas, that is 53 to 63%. This is related to high concentration of organic matter, although it was. So like this we can modify the sentence and make it much more easier than what actually written in the article. So better to avoid such type of complicated words and complicated sentence which will confuse or which will create a suffocation to the reader, that what the writer wants to say, what the author wants to say. So such type of things should not be done. Then excessive use of subordinate clause in one sentence. Example, it has already been found that when salinity increases to the mouth of an estuary, there would be higher benthic richness, which can result also in higher diversity, which is low salinity areas, benthic richness tends to be low. I can't understand properly this statement. The thing is, it is such a means so many subordinate clause in one sentence only. So we should avoid such type of things. We should not use excessive subordinate clause in a single sentence, missing different level of parallelism connected by and one sentence in one sentence. This research investigate the grain size of sediments in coastal areas and discuss the grain size and the coastal sedimentations based on the grain size. So many means you can see it so many times we have used the and in this one sentence. It should not be there. Next is redundancies to avoid. Overusing consecutive words or phrases such as however, in addition, moreover. Use these words sparingly. Phrases without meaning. For example, in present paper. Yes, obviously it will be in this paper only if you have done this. So what is the use of saying that in present paper? It's not possible to be in different paper. If it is in different paper, then it's not your work. So no need to say like this type of words in present paper. Or in this paper we have prepared. Sorry, you can't prepare anything. But if you have some sample, it has been prepared in the lab. In paper you can't prepare anything. So this is just an unwanted phrase, or you can say that phrase without any meaning. Repetitive words with similar meaning like schematic diagram, research work. It is better to use this word separately. This scheme, that diagram, or this research or that work. Next is what all we should not be done other than these things is passive voice of intransitive verbs which do not have direct object. Only transitive verb can be passive forms, hence you cannot say are happened or was sent. The third person singular form of verbs used for plural subjects, like the concentration shows that instead of the concentrations so that. Then dangling modifiers in which the subject of the main clause is not the verb. Example, to improve the results, the experiment was done again. The experiment cannot improve the result itself. It should be, we did the experiment again to improve the results. Do not use spoken abbreviations like it's, won't, hasn't. This type of abbreviation should not be used. It should be it is, or was not, or has not. Never begin a sentence with numeral like 5 mg sediment are analyzed. Use sediments in bracket 5 mg was analyzed. Single digit numbers should be spelled out. Number of 2 or more digits should be expressed as numerals. You can write 4 samples or 25 samples. In sentence containing a series of numbers, at least one of which is more than one digit, all of the numbers should be expressed as numerals. Of the 21 sample, 1 was muddy and 6 gravel and 14 sandy, like that. So in a way, we have learned till now that what all should not be done and what all should be done to write a proper scientific paper. So by all these things, in a way, we are making a life of reviewer easier. We are keeping the text and layout consistent throughout the manuscript. You should keep like that. Layout should be proper, number of pages should be done, and if possible, number the row also. Pay attention on the abbreviations. If you have used the abbreviations, define the abbreviations when it was used first time, or if you have some abbreviation list, then it should be defined there. If you, whatever abbreviations you are using in figures and tables, that also should be defined properly. So by following all these things, in a way, you are making the life of a reviewer easier and editor's life easier, and that will really appreciable, and this will give a positive impact to the editor or reviewer regarding your article. So we should follow these do's and don'ts to improve our articles acceptance level or acceptance percentage. In next session, we will see that what all should be done and what all are the parts of articles and how we have what all should be written in those parts in the next session. Thank you.